Okay, so we've got the last of our videos now with Dan and Kyle looking at the strand evaluating the impact of changes in practice from the innovation standard. And now we're looking at how one of you actually is working at highly sustained effective practice and the other is on the way to this area, to this descriptor. So Dan, can I turn to you first because you've got something quite big on the go that fits with this element quite well.
So obviously, Kyle, as you know, my area of responsibility within the school now is the rights lead. So as part of that, we're on our journey to becoming a rights respecting school, hoping to achieve gold in the next 2 years. As part of that, as my job title suggests, I am the lead in that journey. So really taking the lead on the culture of innovation to do with children's rights. So we're really evaluating where are children in our school receiving their rights, where aren't they? We started off, as you know, with the survey, understanding where children did feel they'd received their rights, where they didn't. Did they get taught about rights at all? That really was our starting point. Leading from that then, we had the action plan, which I created, so I've taken the lead on that as well, and the guidance of my SLT link. And one of the major initiatives that we've launched this year, which was launched in an after-school meeting last term, I think, wasn't it, was Right of the Fortnight. So every 2 weeks we focus on a specific right, an article from the United Nations Convention on the Child. The first one being Article 12, the right for a student to have their voice heard, which launched alongside our newly formed school council process, pupil voice process, really ensuring every single student in our school has their voice heard. So we start off with our form meetings, which then feed into our year meetings, which then of course culminate in the school council meeting then with myself at the end. Following on from that, we launched our You Asked, We Listened format. So we had, what did we have last year? We had the bake sale, last term, sorry.
And again, it was the case of the learners where they could, well, for the World Cup game,
yeah,
it was that case of could we wear bucket hats, the infamous bucket hats. Yeah. And again, even though it was not part of school uniform, they asked in the school council took it to yourself and then took it to SLT, and then we listened then and allowed that to happen for that, you know, extraordinary occasion.
Yeah, so it's really been something that's involved all stakeholders from the school, really. Right of the Fortnight was quite interesting to launch. I sort of started talking about it with the assistant head and the head teacher, then spoke about it with the assistant head teacher at Pastoral, then spoke to all the learning coordinators. Then what I found was that I started speaking to the students themselves. What do they have during form time? What do they like? What would they like during form time? What do they want during form time? Speaking about children's rights again, following on from all the information from the survey, I then started speaking to form tutors. What do they want for the form time slots? What do they find purposeful, impactful during the morning slots? And that really was the birth of Right of the Fortnight, and I think it's been quite successful so far. We've obviously had to reflect on that, talk about whether elements of it have been successful or not. In reflecting on that, I've obviously spoken to the form tutors who are part of this. The prefects lead on the delivery of this, so you know that yourself as one of the form tutors who have the prefects come in with you. I've spoken to the form tutors, asked what was successful, spoken to the prefects. How did you feel when you was delivering this? Did you feel comfortable? Is there anything we can do to enable you to be able to deliver this even better next time? We've spoken to the students who were sat in front of the prefects while delivering it. How did they feel? Do they feel like this is purposeful? Can they use this language? Do they now feel empowered and understanding the rights that they're supposed to have? And I think my understanding of the process of monitoring, reflecting, evaluating really does come from the grounding that was built throughout the whole of my PGCE, to be honest. Understanding you do something and you assess the impact, you assess whether it has been impactful. What was your goal? Have you actually achieved that goal?
And, you know, from a form tutor perspective as well, I can see the impact of that as well, where it's, to begin with, my year 7 form class, they had little to no understanding of what their rights were as a pupil. They had no understanding of, you know, they didn't realise there was a right to be heard, a right to have a voice, which to myself at the time I thought to myself, well, yeah, of course you have, but again, that wasn't made explicit, and it took for granted, and again, wasn't made explicit enough. And again, and I think because they are now becoming more aware of their rights, and because they're being listened to, informed time is taken so seriously, and it's, you know, it's so valuable. You know, with the form meeting this week for the year 7 group, you know, we had a form time meeting where, fortunately for me, I got 2 form reps. I also got a representative for the school council in there, and them guys are taking down the requests of the rest of the group. What can we do to improve the school? What do they feel needs to be changed? And they're seeing them changes, because again, with you said we listened. Again, them being explicit, and they're looking at that going, oh yeah, they did listen. They did take out the school council. It did go to SLT, and there has been a change. So again, by seeing that, there's an impact there. And again, it's evaluating, okay, did they have the desired effect? If not, how can we improve for next time?
I'm so glad to hear you say that, to be honest, to understand the impact, because I'm actually conducting a piece of research alongside this. So I don't know if you know, but last year I started my National Masters in Education, and I definitely think as much of our students are learning, we need to be continually learning as well. So continuing on with that learning journey, I'm now doing my dissertation looking into the actual impact of this, and the intention is that the Masters dissertations are then shared nationally, so it should be something that could hopefully benefit others as well. I know if when I was starting this journey, it would have been nice for me to have more to look upon and more guidance to follow, definitely in the Welsh context, especially in the light of curriculum for Wales as well. But I'm hoping to be able to contribute something worthwhile to the journey that we have going forward ahead of us.
And again, speaking of contributions as well, as a whole school initiative at the moment, we are following Ms Sherrington's walkthroughs, where our head of teaching and learning, as you know yourself, has put us into different groups, and this could be from an array of experience. So it could be NQT with a head of department, with in different AOLEs. So we could have a maths, we could have an English, we could have science and technology, we could have humanities. All of these different experiences all into one group, and we're all given then one particular aspect of teaching and learning, whether that's establishing expectations, which we've done in one cycle, whether that's forward feedback. All these different cycles, we are given a different strategy of that model to trial from a 6-week period, and then come back and share our findings with the rest of the group. And I find that really valuable, because although I'm given what my experience was on that particular expertise, what I found well, what I found needs to be improved, I'm also learning from others as well. And I'm thinking, I'm saying then, could you show me what that looks like? Could I come in and have a look in the lesson and see what that looks like? Because I want to try that in my practice as well. And is that element of collaboration, which again is massively invaluable.
And so just to end, Dan, you are working at the level of sustained highly effective practice in this element of the standards. Kyle, you're getting there. What advice would you give to Kyle to help him move forward to be sitting firmly within that descriptor for this element?
I think seizing every opportunity is so important. I think if you've got the opportunity in front of you to do something that is going to allow you to grow, I think definitely take it, accept it, embrace it. And reflection, I've always been sort of praised for reflection. When I was younger, it was something that was maybe a bit criticised. You're so reflective, you overthink things. But in this profession, I don't think you can overthink enough. I think it's so important to reflect, evaluate, monitor progress, check against intentions, and really make sure that it is, whatever it is that you wanted to achieve, you have achieved. But embracing opportunities, making your desires clear as well. I was very fortunate with my mentor, who I explicitly stated what I wanted out of my career. There was a question, where do you see yourself? And I've got an idea. And by being vocal and honest about what it is that I want out of my career, I've been given opportunities that I might not have had otherwise if I was, silent and holding that back. I think it's so important to, I don't think ambition is something to be ashamed of. I think you should always be trying to be the best that you can.
And again, I think that's a sign of an excellent teacher, really, isn't it? Where no matter how long you've been doing this for, you're constantly reflecting, you're constantly evaluating, you're constantly adapting, and it's trying to be the best possible teacher that you can be, and it's giving the best learning experience for the learners in front of you.
Definitely.